Hey ladies, happy Saturday. Welcome to Triple S. I'm your host Sherry. Ooh, and welcome to our shit show. Tonight, I thought that we could just kind of talk about you getting to know who I am and how this whole shit show started. Shit show being me. By the way, I just wanted to give a shout out to old Jess York. Thanks for the hair today. So anyway, a little bit about me. I was born and raised till about 8 or 9 in Virginia, Norfolk, Virginia. Shout out. And then once my mom and stepdad got some good jobs, they moved us out here to California. Moving to California at around that age, I was in elementary school, and coming from southern, or I guess you could call it the South, maybe the East Coast, coming here was different. Homegirl, I had a bowl cut, wore some Hawaiian shirts, real sexy. And I came here, and a lot of the California girls, they were much more advanced in that. So getting to figure that out and figure out who I was as a person was a little difficult. But, it was all right. And then after that, kind of figuring it out took a while. I was pretty shy. But always very friendly, pretty outgoing, even with my nice looking bowl cut. Went through elementary school, met some good friends, but really when I hit middle school is when I started really kind of figuring out who my friends were and trying to figure it out. And the first person I should say that I met there was this girl, and she was very, very different from me. She had a mohawk, and I just thought, my God, like, who is this girl? I have to meet her. And her name was Cindy, and to this day we are thick as thieves. I love her to death. But how I knew that she was my friend was we were sitting in the middle of Miss Guthrie's class, and I kept telling her how I really liked this boy Todd. And Todd was this just sexy little boy, and I really thought that he would like me. And so we were sitting in our desks, and I had been talking to Cindy how I really liked Todd. And so we decided to tell Todd how much I liked him. And Todd's response was, "Ew, she's gross." I was like, oh my God. And obviously, Miss Mohawk Girl, Cindy, as we call her Dirty now, she just turned around, and being the person that she is, she hopped up the biggest loogie in the middle of class and spit right in his face. And now I don't condone these things. To me, a beautiful best friendship was built. And to this day, I gotta say, I love my girl. Also, in 7th grade, I was out in PE, and we used to have to dress it was Miller Junior High School, and we had to dress in these yellow and black PE clothes. And you had a PE teacher, his name was Mr. Hunter, and he thought everybody was a runner. Obviously, no girl in the 80s, late 80s, wanted to run. You know, we were hair bears. So why would we want to run? Like, your hair would fall. So that's not happening. But anyway, we were sitting out on a PE court, and we had these short black shorts on, and our legs were we were just sitting straight out. And this girl sat beside me. Her name was Holly. And she literally, to this day, has the best calves I've ever seen on a female. Like, it's crazy. And so I just looked over and I said, my God, you have the best calves ever. And to this day, we're still best friends. And of course, through that time, best friends named Kim. And, I met friends through there. And to this day, I am so happy that I have still a lot of those friends that I have back then. I cherish them. I am grateful for them. But anyway, so moving forward, get through junior high school. Coming to California, my dad and my whole family, they were still back on the East Coast. And, being a girl growing up with not having a dad, your real dad in the picture, it creates a lot of insecurities and questions and just things that, you build on that is, probably not the best. And, of course I had my stepdad. He had his own issues. My mom had issues, but, you just kind of work through them. But getting into high school, I didn't have the ability to figure out my anger issues, and so I really, really rebelled. Looking back, I'm sure that my parents just hated every minute of it. But for me, all I wanted to do was hang out with friends. I wanted to go to all the parties. I wanted to be into the in crowd, but yet I was, like I said, really rebellious, liked to party. I had lots of depression issues, things like that. But that aside, you just kind of figure it out as you go. And I don't want to touch too much into each of these things because I'm just kind of doing like an intro about who I am and how I got here. But through that, the biggest thing that I remember is being so boy crazy. Like, I don't know if it was because of my daddy issues. I don't know what, but boys were all that us girls thought about. When we would go to, the dances, or we would go anywhere, everything revolved around boys. And, you learn a lot about heartbreak, and you learn a lot about yourself. You kind of come into your own about learning makeup, or you learn how to dress, or you learn how to present yourself. And that is a lot to deal with as a young girl, because you're just trying to fit in, but yet be unique. And we just wanted so much attention. And I don't know if it's because for myself, I was just missing something, but I didn't know that then, obviously. So anyway, So I moved through high school. Again, like I was saying, super rebellious. My parents, I think it was my sophomore year, shipped me out. She said, "Oh, your dad needs to take you on." And God bless him. He had no idea what was coming. I held so much kind of resentment because he wasn't there on a daily basis, and I didn't know how to communicate. I didn't know why I was angry, but I was just a super angry teenage girl. So I remember my mom ships me out. I leave my friends in California. That I finally have come to a point where I felt like I fit in, and now I had to leave. So that put a whole nother level to what I was going through internally. And so anyway, so I was shipped out. I arrived in Virginia, and I remember I got off the plane and I had a tie-dyed, belly shirt on. I had some knee-high moccasin boots, some really tight jeans on. And I got off that airplane, and I remember my dad and my stepmom just looking at me like, oh, wow. I was definitely very much into the Cali lifestyle at that point, because this was like late 80s. And the East Coast and the West Coast, very different. So I spent about a year there, and I probably about broke my dad and my stepmom. I just really, really rebelled in a way that I wish now that I could take back. But at that point, I was so upset and I was so confused about everything that was going on. Why I was rejected and why I felt like nobody loved me. And it's funny now looking back, because it's just like you make so much excuses as a teenager, But again, I met my very first boyfriend there. It was an amazing time. He was normal, and he was loving, and I met some amazing friends. And my best friend there, her name was Dawn. She drove this VW bus that was like brown, and it looked like a hamburger, and we pimped that ride out all the time. We were everywhere in that. And to be honest with you, after all of that time, I learned that friendship and learning about who I was actually, even though I was really an asshole to my parents, but I got to know my half brothers, and we are so close now. But during that time, it was just really a learning phase that I didn't know about. But of course, my dad and my stepmom were like, oh, this chick is just way too much. So right after the school year ended, they shipped me back to California. Started my whole confusion of who I was and why didn't people want me type of thing all over again. So when I say broken, I was broken before. I kind of got fixed there in certain ways, but then I was let loose again. And I understand now why they sent me back, but then I didn't have the capacity to understand that. But I came back, and met all my friends again that were here in California. Really just dove into who I wanted to be, and I knew that I just wanted to just change for myself and live for myself. And so through high school, finished high school on time, which was a feat in itself. But during that time, I met my now ex-husband. And that in itself is going to be a whole episode, because that was a huge part of my life. He is the father of three of my children. But that in itself will be a whole really juicy episode. So I'll touch on that later. But so I met him. I dated him pretty much on and off for over 25 years. And kind of to skip forward, we were together through that time. There was some times that we were off. I would date other people, great people, but he would come back in, and there was just something that drew me to him, and so I would just drop everybody. So I'm sure that there's one or two out there that really don't like me, and I understand. That's okay. But after that, so after high school, moved out with the ex-husband, lived our lives, went through our 20s. I knew in my 20s that I didn't want kids at that time. I wanted to live my life. I wanted to party. I wanted to hang out with friends. I met some amazing people through my ex-husband used to do flag football and, all kinds of different sports, and we would meet different people. I call her OG now, my girl, my Sion. She met her through there, and, started these amazing adult relationships with people that I cherish to this day. Even through all the craziness, each day living with the issues that you have of growing up unfortunately with no dad, and a family that doesn't really know how to communicate, and all of the turmoil. Somebody like me, we look for our friends become our family, and our friends become extensions of ourselves. And I've met some amazing people in my 20s, but do I even remember half of them? And meaning what I did in my 20s, because I lived my 20s crazy. And obviously I worked and I had a great time, but I did whatever I wanted to do. But I needed to get that. I knew I needed to get that out before I had kids. But through my 20s and all the bullshit that I went through with my ex-husband, we still ended up getting married right at 30. My first babies were my beautiful twins, Haley and Ryan. And when I had them, I've never loved anything more and felt so incredibly complete and wanted to better myself and have my girls understand that their mom and their daddy were always going to be there. And after I had them, even before I left the hospital, I was like, I need to have more. Like, I was really an only child growing up, even though I had some stepbrothers and sisters that would come in the summer. And again, when I lived there in Virginia for that year, I had 2 half brothers. But I knew that I personally wanted to have, if I could have had 15 kids, I would have had 15 kids. But I had my twins exactly to the day. 16 months later, I had my baby Danny. And, you know, being a mom was something that I recommend. It is the hardest job you will ever have. But for me, it made me feel so complete. And, excuse me, the shots are probably coming up. But, you know, that's a whole nother episode as well. We're just kind of still getting to learn who I am. So, I had my babies. Unfortunately, my ex and I we just couldn't see eye to eye. Again, that's a whole nother episode of some really good stuff. Some really good stuff. Really gives you insight on me and how I see relationships. And so anyway, we ended up divorcing. And because I had been with him for so long, I didn't know really who I was as a person by myself. So getting to learn who Sherry was and how my shit show from when I moved here from at 8 or 9 from Virginia out here, it all just kind of came crashing down, and I was just, oh, hi lady. And you know, I never really sowed my oats, if you want to call it that way. Sorry, my dog wants to play right now. And so after my divorce, I was literally broken. I was so heartbroken. But I'm kind of the person, being a Leo, you always want to have a good time. You want to be the life of the party. You want to have a good time. You want to be confident. You want to be a leader. You want to be out. Like, that's just, Leos are like that. We're strong. We're stubborn. We are go-getters. It's just in our makeup. So I knew, being heartbroken, I said, you know what, this is the time that I want to be selfish. I want to do what I want to do. Why can't I do those things? So from my, you know, late 30s, I sowed some oats. And that's some good times. Some good times. Spent some quality time in some bars. Met some crazy people. Had some crazy nights. Not necessarily, you know, proud of all of my decisions. But, you know, me and my girlfriends, a lot of them, a couple of them that we really hung out at that time, were also figuring it out. There was a night where, oh, bless her soul, my friend, we'll just call her C. You know, she met a boy that we had known from a long time ago. We knew that he was a complete mess. She didn't know that. But we let her, you know, we let her go on with him. And to this day, she's still probably hates us for it, but that's another episode. So did that for a while. Went on some dating sites, and those are a whole. I've never seen so many wieners. Yeah, you're talking to somebody and literally within 10 minutes, you're getting some freaking dick pics. Like, what is happening? Like, it is a weird community. Really odd shit. I have some great, trust and believe, I have some great dating stories on that. But in this dating saga, I was also getting hit up by this gentleman that kept asking me out on a date, and like, he was just normal, and he wanted a normal date. He wasn't sending me no dick pics. He wasn't asking me, weird fetish things. And I was just, I just was like, and let's be honest. And he was, 6 years younger than me. And so I just was like, we're in very different stages in our lives. So I just kept ignoring him. And man, this guy was persistent. He just kept sending messages. And I would look at his page and, I mean, don't get me wrong, totally would sow my oats with him. Just younger than me, and I just was like, I had done so much work personally that I just didn't think that we would be in the same vibe, I guess. But one night I just said, you know what, fuck it, I could use a dinner. Let's just be honest, ladies, we can all eat, right? I like to eat. So I said, fine. And that was one of the best decisions I ever made. I didn't know it at the time. I was not in a good place really to have a relationship. I was still super angry, super like I just wanted to do all of this by myself. I'm an independent woman type of thing. But I want to say he was completely different than anybody that I had ever dated. Which, I gotta be honest, ladies, sometimes picking somebody out of your comfort zone is the best thing that you can do. He was quiet, which I'm very, especially after a few drinks, I like to be in the middle of things. I like to have a good time. My husband now laughs at me because I'm always like, hey, I'm sure I like to party, He's not like that. He's more of an observer. So it was different. So the first couple years of us dating back and forth, we would break up, because I just was like, I'm not ready for all of it. And he was just all in. But then a dude would just like be picking up another chick, and I was like, oh hell no. Like, he's supposed to be sad, crying over me, and he is just out. I mean, how freaking rude is that? But we figured it out after a couple years, and I realized that I can't blame somebody new for my issues from the past. A lot of self-growth. And we worked through it, and we stayed together. He was with me. I had one of my twins, which that'll be an episode that's not going to be so funny, but it's going to be pretty raw, pretty real. My baby Haley, she got osteosarcoma at 8, and she passed at 9. And that changed me as a person. I'm not going to go too much into that now because that will be an episode for somebody that really wants to see that. But always remember, September is Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. If you can, always try to donate to St. Jude's. Reach out to somebody that has lost a child, because that in itself is a life-changing moment. And that changed me as a person. And but he was there for me, and he's picked me up off the floor. I'm able to laugh now. I'm able to find the humor in things. I have my really bad days, but it's okay. Like in our house, it's okay. So we ended up getting married. Again, it was my second chance, and I took it and I leaped on it, and I have never been more happy and figured out that finally in my 40s and 50s that there are good people out there. And had a baby at 42, which guys, don't recommend. I'm just gonna say, I love my baby. My older girls love that baby, but holy shit, I'm so tired. I don't recommend. 0 out of 10. 0 out of 10. Would I give her back? Absolutely not. But would I have her at 35? Yeah, it's fine. 42? No. I have 3 girls. We have 3 girls in college. And 1 in 2nd grade. It's crazy. I need another shot. But anyway, so with that, that's an episode. I'm now I just turned 50. Just went on a 50s birthday cruise with my girl Cindy. We call her Dirty. With my girl Holly. My husband's giving me a shot. And a bunch of friends. And I cannot tell you how incredible I feel as a woman now. And how many stories that I have that I cannot wait to share with each one of you. I just kind of wanted to give you like a cap of who I am and how this shit show started. And there's so much here to talk about. And if any of you ladies have ever felt alone, if you're going through, like I said, I'm 50. Ladies, I am going through menopause. I am going to talk about the reality of that because nobody talks about that. Can we just be real about how fucked up that is? And how your body is just insane at 50. Like, it's just crazy. But that's an episode 2. But anyway, I just want you ladies to know that you're never alone. If you have lost a child, if you are going through divorce, if you've gone through DV, if you have had alcoholism in your life, as I'm drinking. Okay, that's a little ironic. But anyway, if you're on your second chance and you're questioning it, I want you to know that I've been through it. Like, I know how it is to go through this. If I can help one person, I would love to. If I can't, if you guys just want to sit here and you want to listen to me babble, great. That's what I'm here for as well. So anyway, so the next few episodes are going to be, touching on different parts of what I talked about. This is just kind of like an intro to who I am. This is who my shit show is. This is what I am. I'm not embarrassed of it anymore. I have made really stupid choices, and I have made some great choices. And I think when you hit this time in your life is when you realize you can laugh at yourself, and you can look back and you can say, oh my God, like, I'm so glad. I had so much fun, but I am so glad I'm not there anymore. So moving forward, yeah, this is me now in my 50s, in menopause, and in a career that is insane. But yeah, so thank you so much for tuning in. I will be back next Saturday. And please feel free to hit me up and let me know if you want anything in particular so that we can talk about it. I'm hoping once we get, I think we have to get like 50 subscribers or something, which is kind of a reach. But if we get 50, we can go live. I want to bring people on because my friends are the best. They're hilarious. There's a bunch that live here and right around in my neighborhood. There's some that will drive here, but I want to have some lives. I want to start like a community and just talk about all of it, you know. And so anyway, that's the show for tonight. Love you all. Cheers. Oh yeah, like, subscribe, tell your friends. Cheers.